if I told you the ocean's most feared predator gives sea otters a wide berth? Sounds insane, right? But stay with me, because the truth about the great white shark will shatter everything you thought you knew. We imagine the great white as a Hollywood villain, jaws with fins, a relentless, bloodthirsty killer. But reality? It's way stranger, and sometimes way funnier. The reason these sharks don't go after sea otters is because sea otters eat tons of sea urchins. This means that they are not packed with calories like seals and sea lions, and also sea otters are spirited. They aren't really shark killers, but they defend themselves aggressively if threatened. A shark going after a sea otter risks injury without much nutritional payoff. A big animal like a shark doesn't want to waste energy on a low-calorie, high-risk meal. So it's not that sea otters beat up great whites. It's more like sharks look at them and think, not worth it. Now, let's look at the basics. The great white shark, Carcharodon carcharias, can grow up to 20 feet long. That's the size of a small bus, except with way more teeth and no air conditioning. It can weigh more than 5,000 pounds, which is like putting a rhinoceros in the water and giving it turbo fins. And those teeth? Rows upon rows, sharp as steak knives, designed to slice through flesh like it's warm butter. But here's the kicker. Great whites lose teeth all the time. In fact, they can lose up to 30,000 teeth in a lifetime. Imagine the tooth fairy bill for that one. Now, let's bust a myth right away. Great whites are not out there plotting to eat humans. In fact, humans taste disappointing. We're like the kale salad of the ocean, chewy, bland, and not nearly enough calories. That's why most shark attacks are actually shark test bites. They're just curious, taking a nibble, then spitting us out like a bad appetizer. But what they do love eating is way more terrifying. Seals, sea lions, even dolphin. And they don't just grab them. They launch themselves out of the water in spectacular ambushes called breaches. Imagine a 2-ton shark rocketing into the air like a missile, flipping in slow motion and chomping down on a seal mid-flight. Michael Bay couldn't direct a cooler action scene. Here's where it gets weirder. Great whites have a sixth sense. No, not I see dead people. They literally sense electric fields. Tiny pores on their snouts, called ampullae of Lorenzini, let them detect the faintest electrical signals, like the heartbeat of a fish hiding under the sand. So while you're stressing about Wi-Fi signals, sharks are literally surfing the electric grid of the ocean. And you'd think with that kind of superpower, they'd rule the sea. But no. There's one creature that terrifies even the mighty great white. The killer whale. Orcas have been observed flipping great whites upside down, putting them into a paralysis state called tonic immobility, then surgically eating their livers. It's like organ theft, but underwater. And what do the great whites do? They flee. Entire populations abandon hunting grounds for months after a killer whale encounter. Turns out the ocean's apex predator is really just a big chicken when orcas show up. Now, let's talk about travel, because great whites aren't exactly homebodies. These sharks migrate thousands of miles across oceans. One tagged female swam from South Africa to Australia, 11,000 miles in less than a year. That's like swimming from New York to Los Angeles, 4 times. Meanwhile, most of us complain about walking to the fridge. But what drives them to travel such insane distances? Food, mating, and probably boredom. Hey, if you had the stamina of an Olympic marathon runner on steroids, you'd want to show off too. Speaking of mating, here's where things get awkward. Nobody has ever filmed great whites mating in the wild. Not once. It's one of the ocean's biggest mysteries. Scientists know it happens, obviously, but the details are a secret guarded tighter than the Colonel's chicken recipe. Now, let's address the human obsession with fearing sharks. Yes, shark attacks make headlines. But statistically, you're more likely to be killed by a falling coconut than by a shark, seriously. Coconuts kill about 150 people a year. Sharks? Fewer than 10. So technically, you should be more afraid of a beach vacation than the shark in the water. And here's a plot twist. Sharks should be more afraid of us. Humans kill an estimated 100 million sharks every year. Mostly for shark fin soup, where the fins are cut off and the rest of the shark is tossed back into the ocean to die. It's brutal, and it's wiping out shark populations. In fact, great whites are now considered vulnerable, which is one step away from endangered. So why should you care? Because sharks keep the ocean in balance. They control seal populations. They keep fish numbers healthy, and without them, marine ecosystems collapse. And if the oceans collapse, so does everything else. Yes, including your sushi rolls. If you're enjoying learning how terrifying, hilarious, and downright bizarre the great white shark really is, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps me keep making these deep dives into the wildest corners of our world. Okay, back to the fun stuff. Do sharks sleep, sort of? They don't have eyelids, and some species have to keep swimming to breathe. So instead of snoozing like us, they rest one half of their brain at a time. Imagine being able to nap while still walking to work. That's shark life. Here's another twist. Great whites can control their body temperature. They're not warm-blooded like us, but they can keep certain parts of their bodies warmer than the surrounding water. That gives them an edge when chasing prey in cold seas. Basically, they're part shark, part thermos. And while their sense of smell is legendary, it's often exaggerated. You've heard the myth they can smell a drop of blood from miles away. Not true. But they are insanely good at detecting it from hundreds of meters. Which, let's be honest, is still terrifying if you've got a paper cut while swimming. Want more nightmare fuel? Great whites can leap 10 feet out of the water. That's 2 Shaquille O'Neals stacked on top of each other. Now picture 2 tons of muscle and teeth flying through the air. Good luck ever relaxing in the ocean again. But here's the irony. Despite their terrifying reputation, they're actually kind of shy. Many divers report that sharks keep their distance, circling curiously but rarely approaching. It's almost like they're saying, "Hey, what are you doing in my house?" And the more scientists study them, the more mysteries they uncover. Like the so-called White Shark Cafe. This is a remote patch of ocean between Hawaii and California where great whites congregate every year. What are they doing there? Nobody knows. Some say it's for mating. Others think it's for feeding. But until someone installs an underwater Starbucks, we'll never know what's really going on in the White Shark Cafe. So here's the paradox of the great white shark. It's one of the most dangerous creatures in the ocean. Yet it's also vulnerable, shy, and misunderstood. It's a monster and a mystery, a predator and a victim, and it might just be the most fascinating animal on Earth.